Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful day, y'all. I'm so glad to have you here on Soul Notes. But Soul Notes on Let's Heal. It's your time to talk. I am Takesha, also Coach Takesha, and I am so happy that today I obeyed and I told God I had to say yes to this episode. I had to, y'all. Um, it hits home with me because I have been through trauma, and trauma looks different for everyone. Trauma is the definition of trauma is different from everyone. So everyone doesn't think the same, or they feel like this is trauma. So the trauma that I want to talk about today is workplace trauma. And I'm sorry, y'all, if I got off a little bit off topic, but or I feel like I'm that I'm just pausing because my thought process right now is okay, will this trigger me? Will this um will this cause a how can I say this, y'all? I'm sorry. Will this cause an issue with individuals that's labeled as a narcissistic leader, um, a toxic leader, workplace bully. So I'm thinking those type may not be a fan of me on this episode. um, and y'all, if you know me, I like to think before I speak because I have to be very careful what type of information to relate to you all. Because my main goal is to educate you and give you the tools to maneuver through your healing journey, whether it's a relationship trauma, childhood trauma, whatever type of healing that you're moving towards or moving in. Um, I personally was whew, was thinking at the time when this trauma was occurring, what did I do? What's wrong with me? Am I not a good person? Am I not a good leader? What's wrong with me? So I was maneuvering through life, just maneuvering, right? So I want to start off with my career and the the story behind my workplace trauma. So, in the beginning, I started my journey, my career journey. And I initially went to college for psychology. I was going to med school. I was going to go to med school and become a psychologist. So I had my baby, my firstborn, and I kind of came off the trail for college and immediately start working. So, um, let me take that back. So before I had my firstborn, my daughter, I did start with, let me start with the childhood trauma. I had childhood trauma moving into my career. Sorry, y'all. I have to remember to slow down because with this type of trauma that I've experienced has caused CPTSD. It has affected my brain, and I'm always in the mode of I want to get things right. I want to say things right the first time, or this has got to be perfect because what people may say, or um, how people will feel. And, it's just so many things run through your head when you're in a trauma body with a trauma brain. Um, so my first career, um, I had daycare experience. I went into daycare as a preschool teacher. I decided that wasn't the journey that I really wanted to go on. So I moved on to my next career, and I was a cashier at a grocery store. And I immediately was moved up in the company, and I transferred to another site, another location. At that location, um, I moved up again. And this time I was overseeing the cashiers and keeping the books for the store. And it was so hard in the beginning because I was very young at the time. And, when you're that young, you have people who will help you and some that will pretend to help you, and they set you up for failure. So in that in that setting, I had some betrayals. Okay. Um, and as I think back, I did have my first, maybe my second experience. Like, I would say the most memorable, all of them are, but the memory started at this place. And I had a mean boss at that time. And he was constantly, I mean, he wasn't that bad, but he was kind of micromanagey, kind of. Um, he was just mean, kind of like mean. Even had that. Um, it was like he was sneaky. I hope I'm making sense. And um, I worked there for some years, and I decided to move on because, of course, I had a big betrayal there by a family member. But that will be definitely another episode. Then I moved to my career, like my career. And working at this place, I started experiencing different types of personalities, especially with women. I had a female boss, and we always have people on the job that we feel close to, right? So we tend to take to people, and in our world, what we call them coworker friends or friends, right? And so with that, if you're not in the group, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be singled out. You're going to be singled out, and you are going to be treated like an outsider. And this is what we call now, I don't know if we called it back then, probably did, cliques. And they were mean girls, and they talked about everyone, and it was almost like you had to be initiated to be in their circle. As time went on, with the favoritism and things like that, I was constantly being said something to. I'm the type of person that if I don't get clear direction or clear understanding, I am going to move in what I feel that's correct, or I'm going to seek my own understanding. So a lot of people did not know how can I say this, help me, I guess you can say, or wasn't even trying to learn me or my personality. So it takes a turn for the worse in my space because they don't know me. They're not trying to develop me. They're not seeing the things that, or they may see the blind spots and just don't care. So I had, so when I tell y'all during like that particular employer, I had the worst bosses ever. Like, to the point pulling you in the office asking, did you talk about me? I heard you was on the floor talking about me. And so I am very, how can I say this, y'all? I am very much talkative in a sense. Like, once I get in a space with people that I feel comfortable with or I trust, I I speak truth. And if they ask me something, I'm going to speak the truth and give my opinion on it. And when you're vocal like that, you always are misunderstood because they feel like it's a tool to talk about someone, but that's not it. Back then, I didn't feel comfortable going to management because, again, I was young. I didn't know. This was my like a real full time job with career, like a, how can I say, building my career. How can I that's the best way to say it. But as I moved on from different employers, because I'm always looking to be in a place for a lifetime until I retire, right? Well, until I retire. And I stayed there for years. And then I just felt like I wasn't getting any type of, movement. Like I wasn't growing. So I decided to move towards another career. Um, y'all, when I tell you, I will be writing a book about this as well. But I just went through so much throughout my career, and it was constant cliques, um, workplace bullying, um, just mean. And I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Mean is mean, right? Some people may not see mean as mean, but everybody has their own definitions. But mean to me means your attitude isn't there. That's respectful. You're just very disrespectful to people, especially people you feel you just absolutely don't like. So I'm gonna start with education. Well, let me bring it back. This is the educational piece. So I would like for you to get out your journal, your pen, paper, pencil, whatever you write with. I want to raise awareness, y'all. And I want notes, mental notes, as well as notes to be taken, if I'm making sense, to be in this space right now. So we're going to first discuss the invisible harm at work. The invisible harm at work. So the show today is Workplace Survival Mode, Healing from Hidden Workplace Trauma. So, welcome to Soul Notes. Today we're talking about something that millions of professionals experience but struggle to name: workplace psychological harm. Many people believe they are simply stressed or overwhelmed at work. But what if the exhaustion you feel isn't just stress? What if it is the result of emotional injury inside the workplace? Keyword: emotional injury. Emotional injury. Workplace harm may include, hope you got your notebooks out, emotional manipulation, humiliation, intimidation, exclusion, gaslighting. These behaviors slowly erode a person's sense of safety and professional confidence. Workplaces should nurture growth and dignity. When they instead create fear and confusion, the body begins to operate in survival mode. And I will have another show about what that looks like, y'all, because a lot of people don't use this terminology where we operate in survival mode in a workplace. You know, we weren't taught that. We always separated. We were taught to separate work from personal, right? In a sense, yes, it is different, but it's still a place where we have human beings there. We don't have robots um there at the workplace. We have human beings that have outside experiences that they carry, and the harm, the injury, the mental space, they bring it there. And back in the day, that when I was growing up, we didn't talk about healing. We didn't talk about trauma. We didn't talk about emotional wounds, survival mode, and things that way. We weren't taught these things. So therefore, how will we know how to start? And I don't believe back then we didn't get excuse me, y'all. We didn't get too many um people talking about um being in survival mode or having workplace trauma, or I probably got a little sidetracked, y'all, or people counseling on that, going to therapy. It just wasn't a lot of education back then. And much as I used to watch TV and read, I've rarely heard this. Rarely. Also exploring number two. We're also exploring a form of manipulation that is deeply damaging, but often difficult to identify: gaslighting in professional environments. Okay. So, gaslighting may look like denying conversations, rewriting events, blaming employees for leadership mistakes, questioning someone's perception. Hmm. So, over time, employees begin doubting their own judgment because of this behavior. Gaslighting is not miscommunication, it is a strategy used to control perception. Number three. So, two, we talked about, let me go back. First, we talked about the invisible harm at work. Two, we talked about workplace gaslighting. Three, we're talking about the narcissistic workplace leader. Leadership holds tremendous power in shaping workplace culture. But when leadership lacks empathy and accountability, that power can become harmful. Okay. So, yeah, I hope y'all taking notes. I hope y'all taking notes. Let me give you the traits of narcissistic leadership. The traits. Traits of narcissistic leadership include lack of empathy, favoritism. Talked about this earlier. I mentioned this earlier. Intimidation, public criticism, manipulation of narratives. Employees often feel trapped because leadership controls opportunities. When I'm gonna repeat that, and y'all, I gotta repeat this. Employees often feel trapped because leadership controls opportunities. Let's just sit back and think about that. Just imagine you are this scared little girl inside because they're not trying to understand your trauma. They're not trying to understand you as a person, and they don't care. So they don't know what type of trauma you've been through or what type of events that you've witnessed or experienced. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to do these little tactics, behaviors. Y'all know I'm a behaviorist. And I love to point out behaviors. And this type of behavior causes employees to feel like if I don't agree with this person, this leader, or if they're going to fire me, they're going to terminate me, or if I don't get in with the in crowd and then be like them, they're going to terminate me, they're going to fire me. You're careful what you say and do because you don't want them to start documenting on you just because. So guess where your mind is going all the time? You're walking on pins and needles because you don't want to lose your job. So you have to maneuver through hell because you know if you get on the wrong side of this person, firing you, terminating you, and you have so there are, you know that this is your livelihood. These type of people, these type of leadership, this narcissistic leader affects you so much because they are a piece of the puzzle of your livelihood. This is a person that can do harm to you, and not just physically, mentally, emotionally. So healthy leadership builds people. They build people. Toxic leaderships breaks them down. And when I say break them down to the smallest thing on earth. And they love it. They absolutely love it. They get a big dopamine hit from that. Dopamine. Let's look up dopamine. Y'all know I'm a wordy girl. Let's look up dopamine. Give me a minute. Let's talk about dopamine. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a crucial neurotransmitter and hormone produced in the brain that acts as the body's feel good and reward chemical, driving motivation, movement, learning, attention, and mood regulation. This is how they regulate their mood, y'all. They they give you hell. I put it like that. This any type of chaos, even if it's pushing your buttons, they get a rise out of doing this to you. They get a dopamine hit from being diabolical and evil. Yes. Number 4, smear campaigns and workplace isolation. One of the most painful experiences in a workplace is being socially isolated or misrepresented, y'all. Painful. When I say painful, painful, painful. So, what does smear campaigns involve? Got your notes out, y'all? Got that pen? Smear campaigns may involve gossip networks, reputation sabotage, narrative control, silent exclusion. These tactics are often used to discredit someone before they speak up. Okay. They are going to go to each individual, whoever will listen or who they have influence over and who they can manipulate. Because you got to remember, these are humans in the workplace. And that doesn't exclude you. It's not like you can shut it off because, again, I may have got off topic at first, but like you have human beings that's in a workplace, and if they are easily to be manipulated outside. You can't separate, oh, let me get out of this body to go into work. That's not how it works. Like you don't have a personal body and a work body, if I'm making sense. You are you. This is just a place. This is just a place. It's not a special entity. We're talking about just a place that you have to dwell in for what, 8 to 12 hours, depending on your shift, 8 to 12 hours a day, to make sure bills are paid, your way of living. Yes, this is a place. It's a house. Your job, your workplace is your house. It's your second home. Literally, this is a house that you go into to be in rooms and clean. Doesn't matter what role you're in. You're there to do some type of duty, correct? When you're at home, do you do what? You cook, you clean, you work with the kids, you take care of the kids. If you have children, your husband, if you have a spouse or a partner, you make your bed. Yes, it's just different furniture, different faces, different amount of people in a place. So yes, if they can manipulate these people, and they are so, because they're very good at pretending, and they can really fool people, y'all. When I say fool people, I'm talking about fool people. They can manipulate so well that they know how to cause a mental block, emotional blindness for others. Because like any other abuser, we have to remember, abusers are abusers, no matter where they are, at home, at school, at a workplace. They are who they are. They're abusers. And they just take that abuse into the workspace. That's just like if you worked in a department area, right? And there's other people in other departments, because department areas, they're not gonna see y'all. So behind closed doors, like any other abuser, they're abusing the people behind those doors. But the people that's not in the area, they're going to treat them like kings, queens, beauty. And they're going to talk to them so sweet. So when you get ready to complain or speak up, they're not going to believe you. Or if they do, they're going to doubt what you're saying. And you're going to be questioned. And your integrity, everything's going to be your character, everything. Because they've already put a narrative out there. So when you get ready to speak up, they already have their self set. So y'all, isolation is a powerful control tactic because humans are wired for connection. Number 5, workplace flying monkeys, y'all. Whew, Lord. Workplace flying monkeys. Sometimes toxic workplace dynamics involve more than one person, y'all. More than one. What is flying monkey? What is flying monkeys? The term flying monkeys refers to individuals who unknowingly assist a toxic leader, spread gossip, enforce harmful narratives, and these individuals truly believe or may believe they are protecting leadership, because in their mind, they're protecting this person and they're trying to show their loyalty to this person. They want to show their loyalty. I got your back. But they're causing more harm sometimes, more harm than the actual abuser at the workplace. Yes. And they literally, y'all, I'm so serious. They actually think they protecting leadership, but they're not. Yeah, they're protecting them, okay? They're protecting them and keeping them hidden. They're keeping their hidden agendas. And they're not that's not protection. That's moving in evil with them. Sometimes people don't know it without knowing. So when manipulation spreads through a group, the workplace environment becomes emotionally unsafe. And trust and believe, when you're emotionally unsafe, that is a bad position to be in a workplace, y'all. I'm just being honest. Number 6, the body in survival mode. The body, we're talking about the workplace here, y'all. Your body is in survival mode when you walk in that door. Even beforehand, you're in survival mode now. So workplace trauma doesn't only affect emotions, it affects the body. Chronic workplace stress may cause insomnia. You wonder why you can't sleep at night. Anxiety, dread. You dread getting up on like Sunday. You just anxious because you got to go in there on Monday. Fatigue, brain fog, and the biggest for me is hypervigilance, y'all. So the nervous system interprets chronic stress as a threat. So it's a threat environment. You're in a threatening environment all day long. You're looking for something to happen. And the minute you feel like you're just, you can relax, something happens and you what? Get tense again. So the body remembers what the mind tries to minimize. Number 7, burnout versus trauma. Burnout is often discussed as exhaustion from workload, but sometimes burnout is something deeper. So let's talk about burnout. Burnout may include emotional exhaustion, lack of motivation. Oh, y'all, yes, definitely lack of motivation, reduced professional confidence, and trauma responses involve fear and survival responses. So, understanding the difference helps people seek the right type of healing. Okay. Number 8. Number 8. The workplace survival mode framework. This is the model, y'all. This is my model. There's exposure, there's confusion, there's isolation, there's survival mode, there's emotional collapse, and then there's recovery. So these type of environments can slowly push employees through these stages. I will break these down on another episode, but um, environments can slowly push employees through these stages by constantly bullying, pressuring, doing things to trigger you, um, just mean. They're mean people. So recognizing the pattern is the first step toward reclaiming and um, sorry y'all. Recognizing the pattern is the first step toward reclaiming your professional identity. Number 9, rebuilding. Rebuilding confidence after workplace trauma. So your recovery involves validating the experience. First, you need to validate the experience. Let me go ahead and tell you now, your experience has been validated. We hear you. I hear you. God hears you. He's right there. Let's validate your experience. It happened. No matter what they say and how they say it, it happened. Okay? Reconnecting with strengths. Reconnect with strengths. Redefining boundaries. Okay? And restoring purpose. This is how you rebuild your confidence after trauma at the workplace. Validation, reconnecting with your strengths, redefining boundaries, restoring purpose. Go back. Think about what's your purpose. There's a purpose at work as well. What's your purpose? Go back to it. Restore it. Your value is not defined by how someone treat you or how someone treated you. 10. Creating emotional safe workplaces. What does that look like? Healthy workplaces prioritize what? Transparency, accountability, the correct accountability, respectful leadership, and psychological safety. And I'm going to end here, y'all. When dignity and safety exist in a workplace, people thrive. They thrive, y'all. They thrive. I just want to put this out here because this is true. You have to heal from workplace abuse as well and trauma. So this is why I am putting it out here today, because I want people to know sometimes you're walking in darkness and you don't know why. And we always assume it's outside entities, right? Entity like your home, experience that you in the grocery store, anything outside of the workplace. But sometimes it is definitely sometimes it's just your workplace that's causing your trauma, because again, you have an individual there that's causing it, that's prompting this. So this had to be taught in a educated, you bring in education, putting this elephant in, addressing this elephant in the room, because it's not talked about enough. Some people are walking around in this type of mental space and have no idea where it comes from. Some people are saying right now, I have a happy home, I love my live the way I live, I love my children, we are so happy, I got all I want. But what's wrong? Why is this? It could be your work. It could be your work. All right, y'all. I just want to thank you so much for joining me. And I'm sending so much love and healing your way. And first and foremost, prayer. And I'm praying for the Holy Spirit to move right now, that you are being set free right now from listening, from just hearing and letting it absorb in your spirit, your soul with this episode. I can't wait to see y'all next time. Talk to y'all later. Bye.